If your money keeps disappearing, no matter how much you earn, if your hard work isn't translating into results, there's a chance that the problem isn't your effort, it's your environment. And more specifically, it might be your plant. Yes, your plant. Because there's one tree, quiet, unassuming, often dismissed as decor, that the wealthy treat like a private asset. And no, it's not superstition. It's energy design. This tree doesn't just fill space, it filters momentum. It doesn't just grow leaves, it grows legacies. And here's what most people get wrong. They buy it for looks. They put it anywhere. They forget it even exists. But when it's placed with intention, cared for with presence, and aligned with the right energy zones of your home, it stops being a plant. It becomes a portal, a gatekeeper, a magnet for money, clarity, and flow. I've seen it over and over again. Homes where finances were stuck, businesses that plateaued, people who felt like they were chasing success in circles. And once they shifted this one living element, once they stopped treating it like furniture and started treating it like a partner, everything began to move. Clients returned, payments cleared, unexpected opportunities appeared out of nowhere. So today, I'm not just going to tell you what this plan is. I'm going to show you where to place it, why it works, and how to avoid the 5 silent mistakes that are blocking its power in most homes. Because let's be clear, placing this tree randomly won't help you. In fact, it might be making things worse. This is not a trend. This is not a gimmick. This is spatial psychology. This is Feng Shui, refined for modern life. And if you're serious about attracting not just wealth, but peace, stability, and momentum, this tree may be the most important thing in your entire home. Let's begin. Section 1, the money tree. Not just decor, but a living energy filter. You didn't place that tree in your home just to fill an empty corner. At least you didn't mean to. You saw something in it. Maybe beauty, maybe calmness, maybe just a trend everyone else was following. But somewhere inside, you felt drawn. And yet, what most people don't realize is that this tree, the one with braided stems and glossy leaves, is doing something far more powerful than simply sitting still. It's not just a plant. It's a subtle, emotional companion, a living archive of how you manage energy, intention, and alignment. And how you treat it reflects far more than care. It reflects clarity. Because in Feng Shui, nothing is neutral. Every object either contributes to your energetic harmony or competes with it. And the money tree is one of the rare few that can do both. Placed with care, it can quietly channel momentum into your life. Placed with neglect, it can slowly absorb and scatter the very abundance you're hoping to build. So let's step back and ask a harder question, not about the tree, but about you. Why did you place it where you did? Did you consider its light needs, its role, the way it interacts with the architecture of your thoughts? Or did you treat it like a basim, a placeholder, a non-priority? This is where most people fall short. They water the leaves but not the meaning. They dust the surface but miss the signal, because in truth, this tree is not just rooted in soil, it's rooted in symbolism. The braid is not decorative. It's a woven path of cohesion, 3 strands representing body, mind, and purpose. The leaves? They aren't just pretty. Their shape mimics the open palm, the act of giving and receiving, a gesture we forget when we operate only from urgency. The tree, in its silence, holds posture, and posture is presence, and presence, when it comes to energy, is everything. Now here's where we shift the lens. If we accept that this plant is more than decor, then what exactly is it doing to your space? And more importantly, to your decisions? Let me offer you a different perspective, one rooted not in ancient belief, but modern energy design. The money tree functions much like a biological capacitor. It gathers, holds, and releases energy slowly, never rushing, never leaking unless the environment teaches it to. It becomes what your space encourages. If you place it in a corner filled with clutter, it becomes static. If you surround it with intention and care, it becomes a small, silent amplifier, a vessel that stores frequency and releases clarity when needed. The question is, what are you asking it to hold for you? I once worked with a client, an accomplished CEO of a marketing firm, who admitted she never gave energy work a second thought. Her life was numbers, deadlines, contracts. She placed the tree by her desk only because a colleague said it looked lucky. But something was off. Projects were stalling, clients went quiet. Even her team dynamics felt brittle. We didn't overhaul the office, we didn't burn incense or hang charms. We did one thing, we repositioned the tree. We gave it breathing room, placed it slightly left of her desk in a clean line with the morning light, and added one simple touch. A grounding stone beneath its pot to stabilize the energy that had been spinning without direction. That was all. Within weeks, conversations reopened. Contracts signed. Her space didn't just look different, it felt different. Was it the tree or the presence it reminded her to carry? That's the beauty of alignment. It doesn't have to explain itself to work. And this brings us to a concept most people miss entirely. Plants remember, not in the way a mind remembers, but in the way water does, in the way breath leaves a mark on a cold window, in the way silence holds the weight of a conversation left unfinished. A money tree in particular is sensitive. It holds not just hydration, but hesitation. It responds not just to sunlight, but to emotional light. When you walk past it without acknowledging it, it doesn't die, but it forgets to speak. When you rush to water it out of guilt, it doesn't bloom, it resists. And over time, this plant becomes a reflection, not of what you want, but of how clearly and consistently you're asking for it. That's why some trees thrive while others, under the same roof, wither. The difference isn't care, it's connection. So let's challenge the idea that this tree is passive. What if it's listening? What if every time you place it on a windowsill without wiping its leaves, every time you shove it behind your laundry basket or let it sit in stagnant soil, you're sending a signal, not just to the tree, but to yourself, that you're not ready to hold wealth, that you haven't made space for stability, that your growth is negotiable. Harsh, maybe, but necessary, because you can't grow what you're not willing to meet with presence. And energy, like people, doesn't respond to demand. It responds to relationship. So now we return to the beginning, not to the plan, but to the posture. Do you treat your prosperity like a placeholder or like a priority? Do you assume that placing a plant will change your finances? Or do you understand that placing it correctly, intentionally, respectfully, consistently, is the beginning of a deeper shift? That it's not the tree itself, but the behavior it activates that alters your energetic reality? Most people ask me, where do I place it? But the better question is, where in my life have I forgotten to nourish what matters? Because once you find that answer, the placement becomes obvious. Here's a truth you may not want to hear. A perfectly placed tree, if neglected, holds no power. But a humbly placed one, treated with clarity, gratitude, and purpose, can change the entire rhythm of your home. Because energy isn't about symmetry, it's about sincerity. The tree doesn't need sunlight as much as it needs you to be awake. And prosperity doesn't require perfection, only permission. So maybe, just maybe, the reason this tree has been sitting in your home for months without any real shift is because it's been waiting. Not for more water, not for fertilizer, but for you, for the version of you that sees it not as decor, but as dialogue. The version that understands every living thing in your space is either helping you hold your future or slowly erasing it. And if that feels overwhelming, pause. That discomfort is clarity knocking. That pause is a moment of choice. Let's not treat this tree like a trend. Let's not treat abundance like an accident. This is about recognizing that prosperity isn't something you chase. It's something you tend to, slowly, gently, with presence, with design, with understanding. Because this tree doesn't just grow leaves. It grows whatever energy you allow it to hold. So the question is not whether the tree works. The question is, do you? Section 2, left side of the front door. What if the real reason money hasn't found its way into your life isn't about effort, but about entry? Most people walk through their front door every day without realizing they're crossing the most important energetic threshold of their entire home. Not just a place for guests or a convenient drop zone for shoes and bags, but the exact point where opportunities either flow in or bounce off. In Feng Shui, the front door is never just an entrance. It's the mouth of qi, the opening through which all life force enters your space. And the left side of that door, seen from outside looking in, is especially powerful. It's called the green dragon position, not only for its symbolism of strength and good fortune, but for its deeper meaning. This is the energetic hand that receives. And if you've been unknowingly cluttering that side with shoes, trash bins, or forgotten objects, you may be unintentionally closing the door on the very flow you've been asking for. Now let's revisit the money tree. You already understand it's not just a plant, it's a living frequency anchor. But place it in a dead zone and its potential collapses. Place it on the left side of your front door, and suddenly it becomes a gatekeeper. A quiet but potent ally that says, I am ready to receive. The tree won't shout, it won't move, but it will begin slowly and steadily to filter the energy that enters your home, pulling in what aligns, buffering what doesn't. But the real challenge is this. Most people never notice what they have made this space into. A pile of packages, muddy shoes, a dusty umbrella stand. These things seem harmless until you realize they're telling a silent story. And the story is, I'm too distracted to welcome wealth. I'm too busy to invite clarity. I haven't made space for support. What you allow to live at your entrance becomes the energetic tone of your entire home. And if that tone is rushed, chaotic, or overlooked, the rest of the house follows suit. Think of your front door not as a structure, but as a statement, not just to visitors, but to life itself. Would you walk into your own home and feel invited, grounded, supported, based solely on what you first see on the left? Or would you feel like wealth would have to step around things just to get in? That's not just a design issue. That's a reflection of energetic readiness. Now let's go deeper. In classic energy work, the left side of the body receives while the right acts. When you place the tree on the left of the door, you align with this natural flow. You aren't forcing wealth in, you're creating a space for it to enter, breathe, and stay. And when the space is clear, when the air moves gently, when the plant is alive and supported, it sends a signal, visible and invisible, that this is a home where growth is not just possible, but protected. But let's turn the lens around. What if the tree is already there, but you've stopped seeing it? What if it's been quietly trying to do its work in the midst of your mental clutter, your emotional baggage, your unfinished tasks scattered at the door? Then the issue isn't the plant, it's the relationship. Because energy doesn't respond to objects, it responds to how we treat them. The dust on the leaves, the soil left too dry, the plant crushed between a shoe rack and a cardboard box. It all tells a story, and the story becomes your outcome. And if you've never considered how the entry to your home mirrors the entry point of your life, that's not your fault. No one teaches this. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. The tree doesn't change your luck, but it can hold your readiness. And readiness, more than effort, is what invites sustainable wealth. Not the flash of a quick win, but the kind of energy that stays, grows roots, and supports you even when you're not watching. So now the question becomes, what is the left side of your front door holding right now? Is it holding space, breath, welcome, or is it holding distraction, stagnation, and unspoken chaos? And if you were wealth, if you were a steady stream of aligned energy, would you feel safe entering through that threshold, or would you hesitate? That's not a metaphor. That's the energetic reality most homes are silently operating within. When the money tree is placed with care, when its surroundings are clear, when the light is soft and supportive, something shifts. Not overnight, not with fanfare, but quietly. Like a door that was always there, but finally unlocked. And as it begins to do its work, filtering what enters, holding the mood of the house, reminding you with each glance that you are cultivating something alive, you may begin to notice that it's not just about attracting more, it's about allowing more of the right things to stay. Because wealth isn't just about inflow, it's about environment. And the left side of your front door is more than a location. It's a reflection of whether you've made the space to receive the life you say you're ready for. Section 3, southeast corner of your living room. It's not hard to make money. The challenge is learning how to keep it, because it's one thing to catch the wind, but an entirely different skill to build the sails that hold it. And this is where most people quietly fall apart, not because they're lazy, not because they're unworthy, but because the spaces they live in are built to welcome momentum, but not sustain it. And in Feng Shui, there is one specific location inside the home that speaks directly to this challenge: the southeast corner of your living room. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but if you understand it, if you learn to see what it really represents, you'll discover it's not just another section of your house. It's the foundation where your blessings learn how to stay. In Feng Shui's deeper energetic structure, the southeast direction isn't fast-moving, like the front entrance, or charged like the work desk. It doesn't respond to sudden actions. It responds to consistency, to stewardship. It is the realm of long-term prosperity, the place where fleeting wealth either roots into stability or vanishes into silence. When a money tree is placed here, it's not acting as a magnet. It's acting as a vault. And just like a savings account, it doesn't need constant attention, but it does need structure. It needs trust, and it needs to be treated like it matters, not because it's magical, but because it reflects your relationship with retention. The southeast corner doesn't reward intensity. It rewards integrity. But most homes ignore this area completely. If you've never walked into someone's house and seen a forgotten stack of magazines in this corner, or a lonely piece of furniture pushed awkwardly into place, or even worse, nothing at all, then you haven't been paying attention. An empty southeast corner is like a leak in your bank account you never realized was open. It drains, it disperses, it slowly erodes whatever you were trying to build. And the irony is that it doesn't happen loudly. It happens subtly. A missed opportunity here, a feeling of burnout there, a sudden expense you didn't see coming, not because you weren't working, but because your space was quietly dissolving the very energy you were earning. So let's stop pretending that wealth is only about increase. What about protection? What about energetic insulation? What about the architecture of sustainability? This is what the southeast corner holds. And placing the money tree here doesn't just make a visual statement, it completes an energetic circuit. If the front door is how energy enters, and the left side is how it's welcomed, then the southeast corner is where it's stored, matured, and eventually reinvested. And what you put here tells the space how seriously you take the idea of lasting success. The money tree, by its very nature, is designed for this kind of task. Its wide, steady leaves hold energy like petals holding rain. Its sturdy trunk channels vertical growth, slow, deliberate, upward. This is not a plant that moves quickly, and that's the point, because the energy in this corner should not feel quick. It should feel dependable. It should feel like a breath you don't have to chase. When the tree is healthy and given space here, its energy doesn't radiate outward in bursts. It settles, it roots, it wraps the room in a subtle calm that over time changes how the entire household thinks about money, time, and security. But how many people actually support this? How many create this kind of foundation with intention rather than by accident? I've walked into luxury homes with expansive floor plans and stunning interiors, and still found the southeast corner full of clutter. Beautiful clutter, yes, but energetically draining all the same. And the result is always the same story: big wins followed by big losses. Projects that start strong, then stall. Clients that promise returns but never quite deliver. And the homeowner never thinks to look at that one forgotten zone in the living room. Why would they? It's just a corner. But energy doesn't care about your design logic. It cares about coherence. So how do you protect this space? Not by filling it with random objects, but by treating it like the storage center of your prosperity field. Grounded elements work well here. Stones, brass bowls, a low wooden table with rounded edges. These things speak the language of stability. They quiet the corner. They slow the chi so that wealth doesn't rush through. It rests. And when you place the money tree here, not only do you introduce a living energy anchor, you activate the storage chamber itself. It's like placing a candle in the center of a dark vault. Not to light the room, but to acknowledge the room has value. Let's go deeper. A tree in this spot is not about expansion, it's about harmonization. You don't need it to attract new energy. You need it to bind what's already there. But here's the subtle truth most people miss. If the rest of your home is chaotic, this corner becomes a pressure point. It begins to absorb and stabilize. Yes, but it also begins to take on the burden of imbalance. That's why so many people report their tree here suddenly dying after a month of success. Not because it failed, but because it overworked. Because the rest of the house wasn't aligned, so the southeast corner tried to compensate. And it collapsed under the weight. This is a partnership. The tree doesn't want you to be perfect, but it does want you to be present. It needs clear air. It needs balanced light. It needs you to remember it's there. Not with anxiety, but with quiet respect. And perhaps, just perhaps, it needs you to stop thinking of this as decoration and start thinking of it as design, as part of the strategy of your home. Not strategy in the corporate sense, but in the energetic sense. Because if your living room is where connection happens, then this corner is where safety begins. Emotional safety, financial safety, decision-making safety. The kind of safety that lets you make clearer moves with less fear of collapse. But here's a thought most people don't expect. What if the reason you're stuck isn't because new opportunities aren't coming, but because old ones never had a place to land? What if your wins don't stay because your space doesn't know how to hold them? What if every breakthrough you've had simply passed through without staying because this corner was empty, stagnant, or energetically cold? That's not dramatic. That's just pattern. That's just repetition. And the money tree doesn't break the pattern alone, but it helps you see where to begin. So you water the plant, you clear the space, you add a grounding object, a stone, a bowl, a mirrored surface angled inward. You sit in the room and listen, and over time, something shifts. Not like a lightning bolt, like a tide. Slow, strong, unmistakable, but best because when you finally start to support the southeast corner, it starts supporting you back. You sleep a little better. You make one decision that turns out exactly right. A friend calls with an opportunity. You find money where you thought it was lost. You don't even connect it to the tree at first, but then you remember, and the room feels different. You feel different. Wealth is not what you chase, it's what you hold. And the southeast corner of your living room holds the key to that difference. Not because of a rule, because of a rhythm. And the money tree in this one location becomes less about attraction and more about alignment, less about growth and more about grounding. It becomes a reminder that what you want isn't it out there. It's already entered the house. The only question is, have you made space for it to stay? Section 4. Left side of your work desk. You don't just work at your desk, you shape your direction from it. It's the spot where choices are made, thoughts are processed, and futures are designed line by line, task by task, hour by hour. But while most people treat their desk like a platform for productivity, few recognize it as what it truly is, an energetic launchpad. And even fewer understand that what happens on the left side of that space can either nourish clarity or quietly invite chaos. Because in Feng Shui, the left side of your desk, your receiving channel, your creative intake, your unspoken inner canvas, is where the first ripple of every idea begins. And what you place there doesn't just occupy space. It interacts with your vision. It partners with your direction. It either invites flow or stifles it. So when you introduce a money tree to this left-hand space, something subtle but powerful starts to happen. Not through ritual, not through magic, but through presence, through physical feedback, through a silent counterbalance to the digital world we so often drown in. Think about it. Your computer connects you to noise. The tree connects you to self. Your emails demand urgency. The tree reminds you to pause. Your deadlines create forward pressure. The tree holds backward grounding. It's not there to impress, it's there to stabilize. And while that may sound poetic, the effect is deeply practical. Because clarity doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from designing a workspace that holds you steady while your mind reaches forward. Most people don't even realize how much tension they carry at their desks. The way they lean forward, the shallow breathing, the eyes darting from one notification to another. And all the while, the left side of the desk becomes a dumping ground. Sticky notes, coffee cups, unopened mail. But in energy terms, that's like piling clutter onto your creative signal. You want ideas to flow, yet the space designed to receive them is blocked. And then you wonder why you feel stuck, uninspired, disconnected. It's not always because of workload. It's often because the energy loop between thought and execution has been severed, right at the level of your environment. Now bring the money tree back into that picture. What you're placing there isn't just green decor. You're introducing life, organic, slow-moving, non-demanding energy that quietly regulates your own nervous system. Its presence stabilizes the output-heavy dynamic of modern work. It doesn't try to match your pace. It brings you back to a pace that is sustainable. And that pacing is what allows deeper, more intuitive thoughts to emerge. Not the kind you schedule, the kind you notice when space is made, the kind that changes strategy, not just task lists. But here's where most people misunderstand this setup. They think the tree is there to help them focus. But the deeper truth is that the tree helps you return. Return to your original intention. Return to the clarity beneath your busyness. Return to the part of you that isn't just working to get things done, but working to become something greater through what you build. And that left-hand placement does something else too. It sets up a loop between your receiving channel and your output energy. As you sit, your left hand remains closest to the tree. That channel receives calm, grounded chi, and the right hand, your action hand, brings that energy into movement. Typing, writing, building. It becomes an energetic feedback loop. Grounded vision, stable output, thoughtful result. This is not philosophy, it's physics. Your body responds to spatial cues. And when your desk holds an object that emits coherence, the nervous system begins to soften. You stop reacting. You start responding, and that subtle shift is where high-quality ideas come from. Now ask yourself this: how many decisions are you making each week from a place of calm vision versus reactive urgency? How often do you feel like you're controlling your direction rather than simply keeping up? And if the answer is rarely, maybe the solution isn't another productivity tool. Maybe it's simply reshaping your space so that every time you sit down, your energy knows what to do before your mind does. The money tree, when placed and maintained properly, becomes less of an accessory and more of a cue, a signal, a silent affirmation that your work is sacred. Not because of how much you do, but because of how clearly it connects to who you are. And maybe that's what this space has been missing. Not more tools or apps, but a reminder that the work you're doing isn't just for income. It's for outcome. It's for identity. It's for alignment. The left side of your desk becomes the space where that alignment initiates, renews, and steadies itself before you begin. So then the real question isn't, should I put a tree here? The real question is, have I made space to receive what I'm working so hard to create? Because working without reception is like planting without soil. You may scatter effort, but there's nothing to hold what grows. And the tree in this placement becomes the soil, not to absorb your labor, but to reflect it back to you with integrity. And every morning when you sit down and glance at it, just for a moment, you're not just beginning another task. You're realigning with the deeper reason you ever chose to sit at this desk in the first place. Section 5, the God of Wealth Altar. You don't need more prayers, you need a space that can hold the ones you've already whispered. Because intention, no matter how powerful, cannot land where energy is too thin, too busy, or too empty to receive it. Most people assume that a spiritual altar works because of what's placed on it. Statues, incense, symbols of reverence. But the truth is far more delicate. It's not about how many objects you include, it's about whether those objects are supported by living energy. And that's where most well-meaning setups quietly fail. Because a static altar may look complete, but without something alive anchoring its frequency, it becomes a signal without grounding. A prayer tower with no transmission line, a space full of spiritual hope, but lacking energetic infrastructure. A well-designed God of Wealth altar is not a shelf. It's not a token. It's a field. And fields need anchoring. They need coherence. And most importantly, they need breath. That's where the money tree becomes something more than placement. It becomes the living earth wire to everything the altar is asking to channel. While your deity's statues represent the divine and your offerings reflect your gratitude, the tree represents something deeper, the bridge between sacred intention and earthly manifestation. It's not there to receive prayer, it's there to stabilize the energy after prayer has been released. This concept confuses people because they think of Feng Shui as either architectural or mystical, but rarely as systemic. But in every true system, even in technology, there's a grounding mechanism. A router needs a power source. A frequency needs a carrier. A signal, no matter how pure, is meaningless if it cannot land. And your altar, especially one placed for wealth, is no different. It may glow with candles and offer beauty to the eye, but without something to hold its resonance to the physical plane, it becomes a shrine to hope without traction. A quiet shelf of intention slowly lifting into air, never quite touching the fabric of daily life. So what makes the money tree ideal for this role? It's not just that it's green. It's not just that it symbolizes prosperity. It's that its energy moves slowly enough to hold the echo of spiritual charge. It doesn't flare. It doesn't spike. It absorbs, filters, grounds, and then harmonizes. And that harmonization is key, because the energy that rises from a sincere offering or a powerful prayer is often full of yearning, hope, longing, belief. But if the surrounding energy field is too dry, too artificial, or too forgotten, the vibration dissipates. It lifts, but it doesn't loop. It expands, but it doesn't root. And the result is a prayer pattern that is heard, but not held, that is sent, but not sustained. The tree changes that dynamic, not through anything magical, but through frequency coherence. It becomes the slow beat against which your higher frequencies can land. But this only works when the altar is treated as an active relationship, not a decorative corner. And that is where many households, despite best intentions, go quietly astray. They light the incense but forget to clear the dust. They arrange the symbols but never stand still long enough to feel the space. And most importantly, they forget that living energy needs living partners. So the altar sits, beautiful but stale, complete but lifeless. And the prayers, no matter how sincere, hang in the air with no path to descend. When you add a money tree to this space, especially placed slightly to the side, never blocking the deity, never crowding the offering line, you bring breath back into the structure. You give the altar not just form, but pulse. And that pulse reminds you, every time you pass it, that the divine and the earthly are not separate. They are designed to meet, to merge, to co-create. The tree doesn't kneel, it doesn't radiate holiness, but it reminds you that what is alive is sacred, that growth is sacred, that presence is sacred. And when it thrives beside your altar, it affirms to the space that what is being called in is not just wishful, but welcomed. Still, the effect depends on how the tree is treated, because placing it is not enough. It needs care, respect, quiet observation. And here is where the energy becomes reciprocal. You nourish the tree, and the tree, in its silent frequency, nourishes your altar, not just as a symbol, but as an actual energetic buffer. It absorbs excess emotion. It slows down scattered intention. It gives a rhythm to what otherwise feels like a wave. And that rhythm is what helps your prayers not just rise, but return. Not just echo, but embed. Now here's a detail most overlook, but it changes everything. Under the tree, place something that stabilizes energy. Not a shiny object, not a cliche trinket, something with actual resonance. Citrine works, yellow quartz, even a small bowl of copper or a coin that's been in your family for years. Not for visual effect, not for luck, but because material carries vibration. And when that vibration matches the tree's grounding intention, the two form a coherent loop that the altar can build upon. It's not superstition, it's frequency architecture. It's building the foundation for what the sacred must stand on. And that foundation, when well supported, does something very few realize. It helps the altar not just send energy out, but draw energy in. It shifts the altar from a one-way communication line into a living, breathing interface between you and the patterns you're trying to co-create. But here's the deeper reflection, and it's not always comfortable. Have you made your altar a space of presence or just a habit? Have you built a relationship or just a routine? And more importantly, when you offer something, prayer, incense, thought, have you prepared the space to receive what may come back? Because every energetic exchange is a loop. And if you send without grounding, you teach the space to forget, to release without return. But if you ground that exchange, if you anchor it with something living, receptive, quiet, the entire rhythm shifts. You're no longer hoping, you're holding, you're no longer reaching, you're aligning. And perhaps the tree doesn't just stabilize your wealth altar. Perhaps it stabilizes the part of you that forgot you were worthy of building something strong enough to last, something that doesn't depend on mood, moon phase, or emotion, but on resonance, on stewardship, on the quiet confidence that sacred energy isn't about grand gestures, it's about consistency, integrity, breath. So while others may ask what objects to place on their altars, you now understand the more essential question. What structure have you built around your sacred space to hold what you're asking for? The answer may be rooted not in what you offer, but in whether you've remembered to include something that knows how to hold the offering once it's made, something that knows how to listen to what even your prayers haven't said out loud, something alive, something stable, something like a tree. Section 6, how to truly care for your money tree. You can't expect your life to bloom if you don't even clean your leaves. That's not just about the plant, that's about you. Because the way you care for something alive in your space is never isolated, it's a mirror. A money tree doesn't exist to impress guests or fill up an empty spot in the corner. It exists to reflect your consistency, your mindset, your energetic follow-through. And if you forget it, neglect it, or treat it like decoration, don't be surprised if the wealth you're trying to attract starts to respond in the exact same way, by fading quietly into the background. We live in a culture that overvalues intensity and undervalues rhythm. We chase results with urgency, then expect them to stick with little care. But wealth, like any living energy, is relational. It needs attention, not obsessive control, not desperate need, just the kind of stable, calm attention that says, I'm still here, I'm still tending, I'm still building the kind of environment where success wants to stay. And your money tree is a perfect practice ground for this awareness, because everything you do to it, how you water, how you prune, how you position, how you ignore, is a coded behavior, a pattern repeating elsewhere in your life. Overwatering your tree is often a sign you're trying to force growth. It might look like care, but it's anxious. It's ungrounded. You want results now. You want the leaves to shine tomorrow. But the roots are not ready. And just like overworking, overthinking, overgiving, it leads to rot. Soft roots, a soggy foundation. Looks fine on the surface, but inside, something is collapsing. Now contrast that with underwatering. That's not intensity, that's avoidance. It's what happens when you assume good things will take care of themselves. When you think that having the right setup is enough, and so you slowly stop showing up for it. Not intentionally, just gradually. Just enough to make the leaves lose their shine, the soil grow dry, the energy withdraw. It's not neglect out of malice, it's neglect out of emotional noise. And the tree receives that frequency, whether you realize it or not. Cleaning the leaves is not cosmetic. It's not about presentation. It's energetic hygiene. Dust is not just dust. It's mental residue. It's the static of yesterday's thoughts that never got cleared. And when your tree is covered in it, your environment starts to reflect the same thing. Slowed thinking, murky decisions, stagnation you can't quite name. But when you take a few quiet moments to gently wipe each leaf, what you're doing is more than maintenance. You're reconnecting to a sense of care that isn't driven by urgency, but by clarity. You're affirming that clean channels matter, that details matter, that the way energy moves through your space is shaped by the surfaces it touches. You are saying without words, I am not rushed, I am available, I am building something that deserves to breathe. The lighting of your tree matters too, but not just for photosynthesis. In Feng Shui, light is yang. It's clarity, motion, strength. But too much harsh light and the tree scorches. The leaves curl, the energy becomes brittle. That too is a metaphor. Too much drive, too much exposure, too much pushing toward visibility, and even strong growth can begin to break. Balance it with filtered light. Give it space to grow without pressure. Place it near a sheer curtain. Let the brightness nourish, not blind. That subtle practice of moderation is something most people ignore. They think more is always better, but real power in energy design comes from proportion. The tree doesn't ask to shine, it asks to settle. Then there's the matter of movement. People often shift the tree around the house trying to find the perfect place. One week it's by the door, then it's by the desk, then the altar, then the shelf. And with each move, the energetic roots it's been trying to build are severed. Because plants don't just grow in soil, they grow in space. They memorize the patterns around them, the airflow, the human interaction, the temperature, the frequency of attention. And each time you relocate it without reason, you make it start over. That's the silent disruption. Not that it can't adjust, but that you're asking it to restabilize before it's ever had the chance to stabilize at all. And if you're doing that to your tree, what else in your life are you doing that to? What else have you kept uprooting just as it was trying to form roots? Now go even further. What do you place near the tree? Are there grounding elements around it or distractions? Is it hemmed in by plastic objects, cords, or clutter? Or is it supported by natural textures, stone, wood, light? Feng Shui is not superstition, it is spatial awareness. The objects we surround a symbol with influence how that symbol performs. A money tree surrounded by noise becomes noise. A money tree surrounded by stillness becomes an anchor. Placement is not the end, it's the beginning. What matters more is what happens next. Because once the tree is in place, your work begins. And that work is quiet. It's the steady rhythm of checking the soil, of noticing when leaves begin to droop and responding before they fall, of dusting the rim of the pot, not because it's dirty, but because details reflect devotion. The devotion isn't to the plant, it's to the pattern. The pattern of treating something consistently with enough care that it begins to support you back. And maybe that's the lesson the tree is teaching without ever speaking. That prosperity is not just something you attract, it's something you hold through presence, through rhythm, through returning again and again, even when nothing dramatic is happening. even when the results feel invisible. Because real growth doesn't shout, it steadies, it thickens the roots, it adds one more layer to the unseen. And then one day when you weren't watching for it, something shifts. The leaves are fuller, the air around it feels different. You feel different, not because of the tree, but because of the way you've changed through caring for it. That is the heart of Feng Shui, not arrangement, relationship. And this tree, more than any other symbol in your home, has been quietly offering you a way to build one that lasts. Section 7.5. Critical mistakes that destroy its energy. A healthy-looking tree can still destroy your wealth if these 5 things are wrong. And that sentence alone forces us to rethink everything we've been told about appearances, doesn't it? Because how many areas in your life look fine from the outside while something inside is slowly collapsing? That's not melodrama. That's the quiet truth of energy misalignment. You can water your tree regularly, place it in the best direction, give it your time, and still, something doesn't feel right. Because alignment is never just about what you do, it's about what you overlook. And in Feng Shui, it's these overlooked details, the ones most people dismiss as minor, that become the invisible threads weaving either prosperity or resistance into your space. The first mistake is deceptively simple. No drainage in the pot. On the surface, the tree looks steady, held in place. It seems like a strong foundation. But beneath the soil, something else is happening. Without proper drainage, water stagnates. Roots begin to rot. The plant suffocates slowly, unseen. This is how many people live, presenting the illusion of financial control while silently drowning under the weight of unresolved emotional or energetic pressure. A pot without drainage is the metaphor for every life decision made from fear of letting go. And the moment you allow that kind of energy into your environment, even unintentionally, it begins to mirror back into your finances. It's not about the plant, it's about your relationship to release. If energy can't exit, it can't enter cleanly either. What looks like stillness is actually stuckness. And maybe it's not that abundance hasn't arrived. Maybe it has, but it found no place to land because everything was already too full to receive it. The second mistake is placing your tree near electronics. This seems harmless. After all, the world is digital. Our homes pulse with signals and screens and devices. But in Feng Shui, we speak in elements, and metal cuts wood. That isn't superstition, it's symbolic physics. The electromagnetic field generated by electronics creates an energetic buzz that disrupts the calm, slow pulse a plant relies on to anchor its energy. Think of it this way. You're trying to grow something stable and natural right next to a source of overstimulation. It's like asking a tree to meditate beside a jackhammer. Your money tree becomes anxious. Its energy, meant to root and stretch gently, gets constantly nudged by chaos. And maybe your prosperity feels just like that. Like it's trying to settle, but the moment it begins to take root, something loud and invisible keeps jarring it loose. The third mistake is caring for your tree at night. This one is subtle. It's not about timing as much as it is about rhythm. Yin hours after sunset are meant for stillness, restoration, withdrawal into the self. Plants, like people, enter a different energetic state in darkness. Their roots shift into restoration mode, pulling inward rather than outward. And when you disturb that, by watering, pruning, shifting, you interrupt that natural cycle. It's not about action, it's about respect. The kind of respect that says, I don't just do what's convenient for me, I do what honors the natural process of growth. Most people don't even notice they're violating this principle. They care for their tree after work, late at night under fluorescent lights, thinking it's helpful. But it's like shaking someone awake during their deepest sleep, then wondering why they wake up exhausted. The irony is this same pattern shows up in their own bodies. Restless minds, poor sleep, misaligned rhythms. So the question becomes, if your plant can't rest, are you truly allowing yourself to? Or are you disrupting your own ability to recharge because you've confused productivity with worthiness? The fourth mistake is pruning or cutting on lucky days. This one surprises many people. But timing isn't just about astrology or numbers, it's about intention. Auspicious days are windows. They're energetic openings when blessings move more freely. And yet, people choose those very moments to prune their tree, cut branches, or trim it back for symmetry. It's like opening the door to a long-awaited guest, then slamming it shut before they speak. The tree is a conduit, a messenger, and when you cut it on a lucky day, you may be unknowingly cutting off the very message you've been waiting to receive. Not all growth is messy, not all imbalance is wrong. Sometimes letting your tree look slightly imperfect is the most powerful act of receptivity, because you're not forcing it into a shape, it's being allowed to become what it naturally needs to be. And isn't that what real wealth is too? Not just control, but expansion that honors the original form. The fifth and perhaps most overlooked mistake is buying from a low-energy source. It seems so innocent. A plant is a plant, right? But energy isn't transactional, it's transferential. When you bring a tree into your home, you're not just importing leaves and soil, you're importing memory. If that plant came from a space of neglect, where it sat under artificial lights, ignored, half-watered, overstocked, then that trauma is encoded in its energetic field. And now that trauma lives with you, not as drama, but as subtle resistance. You water the tree, but it hesitates to absorb. You speak affirmations nearby, but they echo instead of settle. Something feels off, and you can't explain why. Because what you brought into your home wasn't just a tree, it was a story, and you never asked what that story carried. These mistakes aren't cosmetic. They are quiet saboteurs, and they don't scream, they don't announce themselves. They simply sit in the background, subtly shaping the way your energy responds to opportunity, clarity, and abundance. You can do everything else right, direction, watering, placement, but if just one of these is present, your results will plateau, because energy doesn't respond to what's visible, it responds to what's real. And the reality is, most people don't lose wealth because they lack effort. They lose it because they never notice the leaks. So the deeper reflection isn't, is my tree okay? It's, what is my tree silently revealing about the way I operate? Am I holding energy or hoarding it? Am I rushing growth or ignoring it? Am I beautifying dysfunction or quietly nurturing clarity? And when those questions become part of your practice, the tree is no longer a symbol. It becomes a partner, a mirror, a map. And perhaps what it's been trying to show you all along is this. Wealth doesn't arrive through perfection. It stays through alignment. And alignment in Feng Shui isn't a set of rules. It's a series of quiet agreements between your space, your spirit, and the way you choose to care. Final, a tree can't change your life, but it can help you grow the part of you that will. Most people don't realize they're not just living in a house, they're living inside a field of decisions. And those decisions are visible in where the tree stands, how dusty its leaves are, which side of the desk it occupies, and even whether it was bought with intention or impulse. You may think it's just a tree, but your space remembers everything you place in it and everything you neglect. Across each section, we saw how seemingly small choices carry symbolic weight. You learned why the front door isn't just an entry, it's a threshold that broadcasts your openness to wealth. You saw how placing the tree on the left side of your desk doesn't just balance a workspace, it opens a creative channel. You discovered how the altar isn't complete without breath, and how the tree becomes the earth wire that grounds your spiritual intention into physical form. And perhaps most surprisingly, you realize that the way you care for the tree is the way you quietly model how you care for yourself. Here's what most people miss, and what almost everyone gets wrong. They treat their prosperity rituals like decorations. They buy a money tree because they heard it attracts wealth, then shove it in a corner next to a Wi-Fi router, prune it during yin hours, forget to clean its leaves, or worse, never check if the pot drains. They hope for change without cultivating awareness. And that's why nothing shifts. It's not because they're cursed, it's because they're disconnected from the very field they're trying to influence. You can't grow abundance in a space that doesn't know how to receive. And you can't receive if you don't even notice how you're sabotaging the invitation. Look again at the common mistakes: placing the tree near metal, buying from a neglected source, cutting on the wrong days, tending it while tired, or shifting it around constantly. These aren't design flaws, they're energetic fractures, and they reflect a deeper pattern so many carry. Always doing, never aligning. Always fixing the outside, never tuning the inside. And the result? A life that looks busy but feels blocked. A home that looks beautiful but holds no warmth. A tree that looks green but grows no wealth. So let's ask the real question now, gently but directly. Has your tree truly been a partner in your growth? Or has it become just another object in your space that you've stopped noticing? Because Feng Shui, at its core, isn't about perfect placement. It's about conscious presence. The real work was never just putting the tree in the right place. It was becoming the kind of person who knew why that placement mattered. You weren't just planting a tree, you were planting a habit, a frequency, a declaration. And if there's one thing all successful energy fields share, it's consistency. Not drama, not drastic rituals, just quiet, repeated respect. You don't have to water daily, rearrange weekly, or burn incense every full moon. You just have to notice. Notice what the space is asking for. Notice what the tree is mirroring back. Notice where your life is echoing the same mistakes as your decor, and where small changes start to ripple. So perhaps the final shift isn't external at all. Perhaps the tree was never the magic. You were, but it took the tree to help you remember. And maybe now, when you pass by it tomorrow, you won't just see leaves, you'll see every intention you've ever planted waiting quietly to be met with care. And care, as we've seen across every section, is never random. It's the bridge between your current self and the future self that's already calling. Because ultimately, you don't keep wealth by chasing it. You keep it by becoming someone who tends to it with reverence. And that reverence starts not with another purchase, but with a pause, a presence, and a plant that finally feels seen.